The pyramid of fitness is going to let you know if it's time to push your upper limit with strong work. It's going to let you know if you're a little narrow in your base of either adaptable work or steady work. If your pyramid is tall and stable, then you're just going to have peaceful energy, and the idea is to work within the pyramid to say, hey, where are some loose spots, where are some cracks, where are some things that I'm not aware of? So that's what he's taking on today.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Unlock Potential. I'm Brian Delaney. Our focus this season is fitness. I'll be joined by Dr. Corey Duvall, who's going to guide us through his protocol for getting into your best shape so we can live our best lives and serve others well.
Welcome back to Unlock Potential. Today we've got Carson Elmore in town. We're here in Asheville, North Carolina at CrossFit AVL. Carson's been working through the Stay Active method for almost the last year. He's had a lot of great progress, had some ups and downs, and navigated all of those to have some really nice breakthroughs. Today he's in town to have an in-town workout session. So he's going to be going through it. We're going to be showing you what it's like to move through a Stay Active method workout and let Carson share some of his experiences while he's in town today. Follow along. So Carson's going through the limber test here, reaching up above his head and then reaching down towards the ground to the limit of what he's capable of today. He's getting a lot of signals from his body, and those signals are letting him know what areas are fresh and ready to go, what areas are tight to protect the healing and tired areas. And all of those signals go through his memory and emotional center. That center will turn the volume down on things that he's trying to ignore, and it'll turn the volume up on things he can no longer ignore. The benefit of going through this process is you get a lot of clarity on the main thing you're experiencing right now, and that will guide the first step in your workout. So you're feeling jittery a little bit?
Yeah, a little jittery. Nothing felt tight. Everything felt nice and loose, but not quite strong.
Right. So more of a good, peaceful sensation,
Exactly.
As opposed to the energy to really push.
Correct.
So when you feel that, we're going to take on daily original work.
Okay.
So come on over here. We're going to read that mindset.
Yep.
So with daily original work, we want to accomplish the task with joy and gratitude for our abilities and opportunities. Your head posture is going to vary.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to believe that what you're doing is something that you chose to do.
Okay.
This is not an exercise being forced upon you. It's an opportunity that you've taken on.
Great.
And the limits of your work are to inspire others.
Okay.
We don't want to do less than what we're capable of today.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to hold ourselves to such a standard that we can't hit it and negativity starts spewing out.
Okay.
F this workout, I hate this,
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that, etc.
Okay.
I feel pretty clear?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Grab your phone.
Okay.
We're going to pull up the workout of the day. So we got a few opportunities. Standing large log, ground to hip.
Okay.
Scroll down a little bit. There's a standing small log, ground to hip. Scroll down a little bit. And there's a standing axle, ground to hip.
Okay.
You can choose any of those implements
Okay.
and then take on that piece for the day.
Beautiful.
Go ahead and read those instructions. They're the same for all of them.
Okay. 15 minutes for exploration.
Yep.
Change weight to find tough single repetition.
Uh-huh.
Record heaviest weight completed.
Exactly.
All right.
Feel clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, brother. Have
Do
at
it.
it. So when Carson did his limber test a few minutes ago, he didn't have any major symptoms. He felt good and peaceful. The pyramid of fitness is going to let you know if it's time to push your upper limit with strong work. It's going to let you know if you're a little narrow in your base of either adaptable work or steady work. If your pyramid is tall and stable, then you're just going to have peaceful energy, and the idea is to work within the pyramid to say, hey, where are some loose spots, where are some cracks, where are some things that I'm not aware of? So that's what he's taking on today. So today's daily original work is about finding a tough single repetition with this implement on a ground to hip. What that means is he's gonna pick the weight up. And he's gonna do that one time and then he's gonna set it down softly. And if that feels easy or medium, he's gonna keep adding weight. What he's looking for is a tough single. He's got 15 minutes to explore this exercise, adding weight, decreasing weight, changing the way he does it in order to find out what feels good for him. He's never actually used the large log. He works out at his own house down in his basement. He's got a barbell there. He's in town today for an in-town workout. And so we have some large logs here. So he's playing with this new implement today just to see what his body's capable of. How's that feeling so far?
Good.
Yeah.
Feels good. That one started to get a little bit heavy, so I'm going to start backing off of the increases, but I think this is probably a good time to start going 10 pounds at a time.
Yep. So as you get closer to what feels like that tough level, you start shrinking the increase. Yeah.
Okay.
In our daily original work, you want to be in that tough range.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's strength work, we're looking for tough to maximal.
Okay. Gotcha.
So while you're doing it, getting close, cool, but always be aware, like, yeah, I could definitely go a little heavier today.
Okay.
So now we'll go into that limber test. We'll say, okay, I was feeling generally good. Did that ground to hip open up some awarenesses? Did it challenge some parts of my physiology that mean I should be shifting my focus, or is more daily original work the way to go? So while you do your exercise, you're constantly changing your physiology. And in that constant change, we need to have a consistent measure that says, hey, how am I feeling after that exercise? Should I keep doing the same thing, or should I change my focus a little bit? Carson, what were you feeling there, brother?
I feel like I really shook off the tiredness from the morning. I feel much more prepared for what's coming next. So I'd say I feel more in that good category than the almost good. So I think I could go after some strength stuff.
Awesome. So generally what we say is, hey, I feel ready to push that upper limit. I feel beyond good. I feel great. Or I have some frustration that I need to work through. Are you feeling any of those, or is it still just a better level of good?
I would say I definitely have frustrations to push through. No, I feel great. I really do.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Let's take on some strength work.
Let's do it.
This one I don't think we've done together. Have you done
Have not.
a shoulder carry before?
No, I have not.
Awesome. So come on over here. I'll talk you through it.
Okay.
So this is the yoke here. It weighs 190 by itself. You're going to set the height of the bar so that you can get it off the ground so you don't have to be in a deep squat, but that when you walk, it's off the ground and not scuffing.
Like a rack bar.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect height for it. That could be pretty good. So 30 meters in this space starts beyond the rubber there, and then it goes to beyond the rubber down that way.
Okay.
You got to make that distance within 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then your second set, you'll go heavier.
Okay.
Third set, you'll go heavier. Now in strong work, we're looking not just for tough, but that tough to maximal.
Correct. Got it.
Carson's doing strong work right now, which means he's adding weight over a series of sets, looking for that balance between tough and maximal. We've got a standard that we use: easy, medium, tough, maximal, and failure. We're never looking to train to failure. That has not been shown to be helpful. So maximal effort is good, tough effort is good, and in our strong work, we're looking for that balance. So Carson's adding weight each set here. He hasn't done this exercise before because he doesn't have this at home, but he's in town today, and so we're giving him this new exercise in order to see where his limits are for it. Job, brother.
Thanks.
Go through that limber test and see how you're feeling after that strong work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So reaching up overhead, reaching down towards the ground to the limit of what he's capable of today and back up. There's some people where they go down and they're just touching their knees and standing back up. Other people capable of only a toe touch and back up. Others can get their palms to the ground. And the fullest expression if people are able to get there is to get their elbows to the ground and back up. We just want to do this a handful of times to get a lot of signals from the body. And how you feeling there?
I'm still feeling fairly similar to whenever I started on the yoke.
Awesome, brother.
I have a small amount of fatigue, but it feels like a temporary fatigue that will fade once I catch my breath.
Yeah, we can feel multiple things, mostly strong and a little tired, mostly strong and a little stiff. We just take whatever feels the most and we take that piece off.
Exactly.
Awesome, man.
Let's do it.
So the stay active method is responsive more than predictive, which means I don't need to tell him exactly how much weight to do in this exercise today. He's done some similar things to that already today, and all of the exercises that he's done leading up to today are going to influence how much he's capable of in this moment. And so what I do is I give him a range with the awareness that he's supposed to push himself to a tough to maximal level. Instead of saying do exactly this weight for exactly this number of reps, I say, hey, this is the direction we're headed. You take yourself as far that way as you can today. And because sometimes he's going to do a strong work piece and then he's going to be tired, he's going to shift to stamina work. There's other days where he just continues feeling strong and he really pushes himself. Now tomorrow and the next day, he might have some soreness where he should shift to adaptable work, but he might not have that soreness. So to tell him what to do tomorrow or the next day, that's not for me to decide. That's for him to feel into and then choose that path accordingly. Yeah, brother, easy.
That went up a lot easier than the last set.
Yeah, easy. So sometimes when people hear about intuitive exercise or intuitive eating, where you're not pre-planning every aspect of it, but you're feeling into what your body needs, they slide too far to the other side. So instead of predicting everything, they're just doing whatever they want to. And so the counter argument sometimes to that intuitive process is, well, if I just do whatever I want to, I'm not going to make any progress. And so the whole purpose is to feel into how your body is in the moment, but then have structure that follows shortly thereafter, which allows freedom and also guidance along that way. And so you'll see Carson pull up an app on his phone. He's checking in with deep awareness of his body, and then after that awareness, using the technology to guide his process. Well, I've been developing this system for 15 years, and there are no apps out there that allow a coach to design a reactive model for where somebody is headed. They're all based on the predictive models of, I as a coach know exactly what this person is going to need, and then it pre-plans that accordingly. Well, we're developing the Stay Active Method app, which is that exact balance of responding to how somebody is feeling and then guiding the direction based on that sensation. And so in the next couple of months, we're going to be releasing the Stay Active Method app, which will help you learn to read the signals of your body. Then, based on those readings, offer you the very next step. Now, because we're responding to how you're feeling in each moment, we can plan some of those steps. And as soon as you start to get off course, your body weight gets a little too high, your muscle mass gets a little too low, you get too weak in one area and not strong enough, well, we're gonna adjust accordingly. The algorithms are gonna see you headed off course and automatically redirect you. So you're gonna feel how you are in the moment, and you'll be able to trust that that very next step is right along the best path for you.
A little bit of fatigue setting in at this point. I think, so a little bit of fatigue setting in. I think moving towards stamina.
Yeah.
Ramping it down a little bit.
Feeling that tired is the majority of what you're experiencing right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's pull up that phone and
All right.
see what the next stamina exercise is.
Hanging bar mount above belly.
Yes,
10
sir.
minutes.
So this will be another new one for you.
Yep.
Now that you're here. So bar mounts means you're gonna get on top of the bar. That's
Okay.
the top of the range of motion. The bottom of the range of motion is that you get as close to hanging as you can.
Okay.
So you're gonna set one of these adjustable pull-up bars so it's at least above your belly.
Okay.
So for me, I would go up one more.
Okay.
Now, when you have the bar at the right height, you get as close to hanging as you can below the bar, and then mount on top.
Got it.
Back down, back up, repeating reps quickly.
Okay.
When you feel like you need a little rest, take a rest and repeat.
Okay. Sounds good.
And how is that for you, height-wise?
That should be probably about right.
Yeah, that looks good right there.
Yeah. So
Try a couple, set your timer, and off we go. Yep, you want to get as close to hanging as you can. Yep.
So as much weight basically on my hands.
Exactly. Yep.
As possible.
Yep.
And then
You bring yourself up and on top. Yeah. And then back down. Boom. As high as you can. Yep. Yep. All the way down. Yep. And up on top. Good.
okay. Cool.
Yeah, brother.
Do it.
10 minutes. Remember, in this steady work, you want to try to keep the head up and then the eyes be on the horizon there. Yep. Yep. Good. And to make it easier, feel free to jump a little bit more as you're going up through. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
That's what we're looking for. Now, when it's easier, you can move quicker. When you go quicker, you get more done. When you get more done, you get tired, but you're getting more done. That's what we're looking for here. We don't want to take something that could be easy and make it tougher. We want to take something that could be tough and make it easier. Then we're capable of more in the future. When I was a small child, I would watch the Olympics, and gymnasts would get on the rings and move so easily that there was a disconnect between what they were doing and the difficulty of it. So they would hang on the rings and they would pull their bodies all the way up, and they would do it so easily that it just seemed like that's something people should do, except when you're on a tree branch and you're trying to get yourself up there, it's incredibly difficult, and you start using your feet to climb up the tree. And then I was in chiropractic college, and I was training elite athletes at the Olympic Training Center. These were bobsledders and lugers. So these guys were 6'2" to 6'4", 220 pounds. And as part of their training, they weren't just doing pull-ups, they were doing what's called a muscle-up. They were hanging on a pull-up bar and pulling themselves all the way up. And so I had seen Olympic gymnasts do it, and I thought, oh, this is what Olympic gymnasts do. Then I saw these Olympic bobsledders do it, and I was like, oh wow, that is so impressive. This is something that Olympians do. This is not something that average humans do. And then it was about a year after that experience in the Olympic Training Center with the bobsledders that I learned about CrossFit. And I started watching the videos online, and one of the exercises was a muscle up. And there was a gentleman in the early days, this is like 2007, CrossFit.com website. I forget his name right now, but he was a rock climber, and he was capable of doing a bunch of these muscle ups. I was like, boy, that's really amazing. And here's this exercise program that says everybody should work towards that. And the gym that I was in chiropractic college had a bar that was not for pull-ups. It was a crossbar that was holding a squat rack together, and it was about this high. And one day while I was in the gym, muscle-ups were prescribed in CrossFit.com. I was like, I'm gonna try to do those. And so I hung from that crossbar, and I had to hang with my legs bent. And I just tried to like pull myself up, and I could do a bunch of pull-ups, 8 to 12 pull-ups at the time, but I couldn't figure out how to get myself all the way up there. And out of frustration, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna jump. And I jumped all the way up. And as I jumped up, I was like, oh, that's kind of like the activity. So I'm gonna do some jumping muscle ups. And I did those until I graduated from chiropractic college and I moved away from that gym. And I never encountered a pull-up bar that was accessible at that height for a long time. And what got popular in the CrossFit sphere for getting people capable of doing muscle-ups was not the jumping muscle-up component. It was using rubber bands on an already high pull-up bar. And it was about teaching people to use their upper body in a strict way in order to become more capable of the muscle-up. And I followed that mindset for a little while. And I started to realize that the original idea behind functional movement was not about body part isolation, but about body part inclusion. Instead of teaching your body to not use your legs to achieve this exercise, we need to teach our body to use our legs for this exercise and to do it in a safe way. And so we started incorporating here these adjustable pull-up bars. Because what that does is that allows us to lower the bar down. And as the bar goes lower, we're able to jump a little. And as we jump, we get more and more repetitions easier. So the way skill development works is we get a lot of reps at relatively easier skill levels. And when we can do that, we raise the skill level a little bit. And we do as many reps as we can there. And then we raise the skill level up. And as the skill level goes up, we can't do quite as many reps, but we continue building the skill level up and doing as many reps as we can. You'll notice that shape that I just pointed out is the pyramid of fitness. We get a lot of reps at easier skill, and we work our way up until we can only do a few reps of the highest skill that we're capable of. Well, by having these adjustable height pull-up bars, we're able to incorporate the whole body for this mounting of the bar, for this bar muscle up. And by doing so, we teach humans how to use their whole body instead of isolating those body parts. Now, because Carson's getting a whole bunch of reps here, the next time we're gonna raise that bar up. So he's gonna be able to jump, but it's gonna be a little higher and a little tougher. And if he gets enough reps there, we're gonna raise the bar up again, and it's gonna get a little tougher and he might get a fewer reps. And what that does is that allows him to use his body, and eventually that bar is just at the edge of his reach, and just a flick of the toes and a coordination of the torso, he's getting himself into a muscle up. And over time, that incorporates itself to him hanging on a bar and pulling himself all the way up, but incorporating contraction of his whole body instead of isolating his body parts out. Now we also incorporate the in-body scanner here. An in-body scanner lets us know where musculature is located on the human body. Is there an imbalance more on the upper body than the lower body? Is there more on the left side than the right side? And we can take a look at those imbalances. And when we take a look at those, I find that a lot of individuals have more muscle mass on their upper body than their lower body. And so here this gentleman is wanting to get better at this skill. But if I were to say, hey, you need to do strict upper body only muscle ups, I would be teaching him to use less of his lower body, but he's already low in muscle mass there. I'm taking him towards greater imbalance. That greater and greater imbalance means more shoulder problems, more elbow problems, more wrist problems, more neck problems. Instead, what we do is to teach him to use his legs for all of his activities. The musculature on his legs builds up over time, and as that balances out, he's got fewer neck problems, fewer elbow problems, fewer wrist problems, fewer shoulder problems. That's how we get a good long-term development of this skill. Carson's wrapping up his workout here. Carson, you want to give us a little brief explanation of your experience and how that went for you today?
Yeah. I came in today. I've been lacking in the sleep category, so I was kind of assuming, with a pre-assumption coming into today, that I would be too tired for strength. It may have had something to do with cameras being in here, just being here because this is only my second time. But once I started going through the limber test, I realized that I felt better than I assumed that I would, which is good, because without that limber test, I probably wouldn't have pushed myself as hard as I did. Even after the second strength exercise, I was surprised that I still felt strong, still felt great. And then after the third one, that's when the fatigue started to set in. And being humble, learning, as I have not necessarily done in the past, I backed it off, did some stamina, which was much needed.
Yeah, it was well executed today. And you bring up a really good point that you've been having some sleep issues crop up recently over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so if you purposely hold yourself back in your workout when you don't need to, that builds a pattern of then trying to push yourself later when you're not ready for it.
To make up for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So mentally that starts to mess with us. But what you did was you showed up beautifully and you said, hey, how am I feeling? Not what happened last night, how am I feeling right now? And that's one of the things you're learning over the last year is show up for how you're feeling right now and execute so that you don't have to make up for it and you don't have to artificially restrict.
Yeah, it was great. I feel a lot better today than I have after most of my workouts recently. I feel like I really read my body perfectly today, and was able to push myself whenever I got those messages to say, go ahead and push yourself.
Awesome,
So,
brother.
It was great.
It was fun to watch, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Unlock Potential. For exclusive content, make sure to subscribe to our Patreon. Follow us across all socials at Unlock Potential 360 and visit our website at unlockpotential360.com to shop our gear and see what's coming up next.
The information and views expressed by our host or guests on the Unlock Potential podcast are their own, and not a substitute for professional medical or fitness advice. Always consult with qualified healthcare or fitness professionals before starting any new exercise program or making changes to your current routine.